In this podcast episode, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Joe Rogan discuss a wide range of topics, including fitness, discipline, gratitude, and the pursuit of passion. They start by talking about their shared interest in fitness and the importance of maintaining a disciplined workout routine. The Rock shares his experience of working out with a group of friends and how it has been a positive and motivating experience for everyone involved. They discuss the benefits of starting the day with a workout and the impact it has on their overall well-being. The conversation then shifts to the importance of enthusiasm and gratitude in life. They emphasize the significance of being enthusiastic about the things you do and expressing gratitude for the opportunities and experiences that come your way. The Rock shares his personal journey of finding confidence and purpose through martial arts, which ultimately led him to pursue a career in entertainment. He reflects on the impact of martial arts on his life and how it instilled in him a sense of discipline and determination. The discussion also touches on the challenges of pursuing a passion and the importance of finding one's true calling. The Rock shares his own experience of transitioning from kickboxing to stand-up comedy and the realization that he needed to make a change in order to protect his mental and physical well-being. They both emphasize the value of finding a pursuit or passion that is engaging, challenging, and personally fulfilling, as it can have a positive impact on all aspects of life. The conversation then shifts to the toxicity of social media and the negative impact it can have on people's lives. They discuss the need for empathy, integrity, and moral compass in leaders, and the difficulty of making tough decisions, such as ordering drone strikes that may result in civilian casualties. They also touch on the influence of the military-industrial complex and the profit motive in driving conflicts and wars. The conversation then turns to the conflict in the Middle East, particularly the situation in Palestine and Israel. They discuss the complexity of the conflict and the need for empathy and open-mindedness in understanding the perspectives of both sides. They also express concern about the escalating tensions and the lack of clear solutions to the conflict. The podcast also delves into the role of leadership and the qualities needed in leaders to navigate complex and challenging situations. They emphasize the importance of empathy, integrity, and the ability to make tough decisions while considering the impact on innocent civilians. They also discuss the need for strategic diplomacy and dialogue to prevent conflicts from escalating to extreme violence. The conversation also touches on the influence of money and power in politics, particularly in decisions related to military interventions and foreign aid. They highlight the need for transparency and accountability in government spending and the allocation of resources to address domestic issues. The conversation also touches on the devastating wildfires in Maui, with Johnson highlighting the efforts of the People's Fund of Maui in providing assistance to those affected by the disaster. They express frustration at the government's failure to adequately address the crisis and emphasize the need for more support for American communities in times of need. The discussion then shifts to the topic of social media and its impact on society. They highlight the divisive nature of online discourse and the prevalence of misinformation and disinformation. They also discuss the potential for technology to advance to the point of being able to read thoughts and intentions, with Johnson expressing skepticism about the implications of such advancements. The conversation then turns to their personal experiences with cars, with Johnson sharing his first car purchase and his love for muscle cars. They discuss the emotional connection to certain vehicles and the joy of driving, as well as the reliability and durability of certain car brands such as Toyota and Lexus. They also touch on the appeal of pickup trucks and the cultural significance of owning one, particularly in Texas. Johnson shares his admiration for the Tesla and its innovative features, highlighting its speed and performance. He also discusses his collection of muscle cars and the emotional connection he has to certain models, particularly the 1970 Barracuda, which holds sentimental value due to his mother's ownership of a similar car. The conversation also delves into the topic of professional wrestling, with Johnson sharing his personal connection to the Von Erich family and their influence on his career. They discuss the upcoming movie Iron Claw, based on the Von Erich family, with Johnson expressing excitement for the project and the impact of the family's legacy on the wrestling industry. The podcast touches on the pioneers of MMA and their potential success in today's competitive landscape. Fighters such as Frank Shamrock, Ken Shamrock, and Mark Kerr are praised for their pioneering roles in the early days of MMA. The conversation explores the mindset of champions and their ability to adapt to different eras and levels of competition. The discussion also delves into the evolution of fighting techniques in MMA, particularly the rise of leg kicks and the impact they have on the sport. The potential for different weight classes to compete against each other in MMA is also considered, with the suggestion that some organizations may be experimenting with this concept. The conversation continues with a discussion about the Japanese fighting scene and the unique matchups they put together, such as Bob Sapp versus Minotauro. They talk about the physical attributes of fighters like Bob Sapp and Minotauro and how jiu-jitsu prevailed over a larger opponent in one of their fights. They also discuss the physical toll that fighting can take on a person, as evidenced by the injuries sustained by Minotauro during his fight with Bob Sapp. The conversation then shifts to the career of Bob Sapp, his physical attributes, and his performance in the sport of MMA. They discuss the freak show aspect of his fights and the challenges he faced due to his size and strength. They also talk about the cardiovascular requirements of someone of his size and the impact it had on his performance in the ring. The discussion then moves on to the career of Fedor Emelianenko, a Russian MMA fighter, and his dominance in the sport. They talk about his unique fighting style, his stoic demeanor, and his ability to prevail against larger opponents. They also discuss the potential reasons why Fedor never had a run in the UFC and the challenges he faced in negotiating with the organization. The conversation then turns to the career of Cain Velasquez, a former UFC heavyweight champion, and his physical and mental toughness. They discuss his training regimen, his injuries, and the impact they had on his career. They also talk about his potential as a champion in any era and the challenges he faced due to his injuries. The discussion then shifts to the current state of combat sports and the potential matchups between fighters like Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou, and Alexander Usyk. They talk about the skill and athleticism of these fighters and the potential for exciting matchups in the future. They also discuss the financial incentives for these fighters and the potential for big money fights in locations like Saudi Arabia. The conversation then moves on to the career of Muhammad Ali and his impact on the world of sports and culture. They discuss his stance against the Vietnam War, the challenges he faced as a result, and his legacy as a cultural hero. They also talk about his influence on other athletes and the impact he had on their careers. The discussion then turns to the career of Mike Tyson and his dominance in the world of boxing. They talk about his speed, power, and skill in the ring, as well as his impact on the sport of boxing.